The Roaring Night. What a plot twist, huh? We finally got to see their design in Chapter 3, and it's this. Well, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Let's make some assumptions. Number 1, they're a Lightner with a body in the real world, since Susie sees them running away, and they literally carry Undyne off. Number 2, they're someone we know, or at least have heard about. In fact, their design of all black is weirdly reminiscent of Ralsei in Chapter 1. When we look back at the designs of Lightners we've seen go into Dark Worlds, they tend to change, but not much. Susie gets slightly pinker, Noelle's hair gets lighter, and people's outfits change depending on how they view themselves. Susie's a punk, Chris looks like a knight, Noelle looks like an angel, and Birdley gets this interesting mechanical suit design. Toriel and Undyne look pretty much exactly the same as well. However, I would like to point out one thing about Chris's design in particular: their iconic Smurf blue. None of the other characters have such a drastic change in appearance. Pink and purple are right next to each other on the color wheel. A lighter shade of blonde? Nothing. But regular human skin color to blue? That's weird. That's really weird. In order to proceed, we will make one more assumption. Chris has been in Dark Worlds before. They don't seem as surprised or worried as Susie, not to mention the fact that we literally overwrite their save file in the first chapter. Considering that Chris has probably been to Dark Worlds before, and their appearance changed so drastically compared to the other characters, and the appearance of the knight, who presumably has made a lot of Dark Worlds, is literally unrecognizable, I would like to propose a theory. Your appearance in Dark Worlds changes the more of them you go to. We see something like this in Chapter 4 with the Dark World Susie makes. Both her and Chris change from their usual palettes before going back to regular in the first one. Could this not have some implications? Before we get into theory crafting, who the Roaring Knight might be, let's analyze their design for a moment. They have abnormally long arms and legs, with a wide chest and diamond-shaped head with cross-shaped horns of some kind. Just looking at their body, who does this most remind us of? That's right, Papyrus. The knight's design is shockingly similar to Papyrus's. Ignoring the fact that they don't move or talk or have any Papyrus-like mannerisms, I would say that just by looking at their design, Papyrus is the closest physical match. However, there's one very noticeable feature that resembles a character we haven't seen yet. Their horns are a dead match for the Holiday family. Particularly, Chris, who seems to be working with the knight, does not want us to learn anything about December, which could imply things. My theory? My very real and serious theory is that the Roaring Knight is the illegitimate love child of Papyrus and December Holiday. Think about it. We haven't seen either of them. Why? They're taking care of a family. They're busy. Good jobs in this economy? Ha! This is the obvious truth. A skeleton reindeer would probably face discrimination considering how few cross-monster pairings we see in Undertale and Deltarune. That's why the knight is so hell-bent on destroying the world. They're lashing out in frustration. Obviously. They're just misunderstood, and I can fix them, especially in this fanfic I wrote about. Wait, I swear it's a legitimate Deltarune theory. Hold on. Jokes aside, the knight's appearance is actually much more similar to the Titan scene in Ralsei's doomed prophecy of the Roaring. If you notice the ones on the right and left, it is almost a perfect exact match. But rather than assuming that the knight is a titan, that wouldn't make much sense considering that they're supposed to be huge, I would actually like to propose that the more Dark Worlds that you create, the closer you get to looking like a titan. Either that, or they're specifically fashioning themselves after the Titans for some reason. Maybe because they want to be like them. Maybe it's so the Titans don't view them as a threat. For now, we don't know a lot about their motivations, other than they're working with Chris to create Dark Worlds, and haven't ended the world yet. We could talk about how it's probably because Chris wants to have fun adventures and make friends in Dark Worlds, rather than being sad and lonely all the time. But we don't have time to get into that today because we don't have enough proof, and I'm lazy. Anyways, theory out.